friends, to another edition of Tiffin Box TV. I'm your host, Sei Shu, and I'm speaking with Sofia Negron, who is a photographer based in New York. Sofia and I've not quite worked together, but we've known each other for many, many years, thanks to our background in weddings and photographing Indian weddings, especially, I think, in the New York, New Jersey area. Sofia, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I probably should mention, Sofia's got a new venture. It's called The Healthy Photographer, and you can find out all about it at thehealthyphotographer.com. I'm looking at the website right now. It's gorgeous. It's a simple, beautiful loading website. And it's a topic that most photographers do not ever consider in their entire life cycle of being a photographer. And interestingly, and I'll come back to this, this topic is so important, I think, that we should really be talking about it, only because we are aging.
Yes.
Most people who are born are aging. So I would imagine that we're all... So keeping our minds, our bodies fit is so important. So thanks for joining me, and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I've got my reasons to come and look at your website. I've already told you that before when I started recording. I'm a vegetarian. I try and run every day. I'm definitely interested in meditation and mindfulness. But these are all topics that you've brought all together under one roof.
Yes.
And it's in your website, The Healthy Photographer. Tell us a little about why you decided to do this.
So a couple of reasons. I would think it's about 3 years ago when I started working with a massage therapist and a nutritionist, and I was part of a networking group. So I also had access to a Pilates instructor, an acupuncturist, a meditation person, and yoga people, and just all these health and wellness people, and started taking advantage of all of their services. And I had been a dancer for 20 years, professionally dancing for 8 of those 20 years. And I just started finding that my body just was not working. I was feeling like after I'd shoot a wedding, I had to stay in bed the next day. It's like, I can't move, leave me alone. And, I was starving all the time. You get hangry at weddings because you don't think to pack food. And when I started working with a nutritionist, I became gluten-free. So that made it a necessity to pack food because, you're at a wedding and they're passing around breaded food at the cocktail hour, and there's cheese and crackers, and, the vendor meals are sandwiches and pasta. And so I had to be really aware of that. And I started really talking to other photographer friends who were complaining just like I was. And I was like, well, do you go to a massage therapist? They're like, no. I'm like, try going to the massage therapist. And they're like, oh, I never thought of that. Or just, talking to other people, they're like, I'm starving. And I'm like, did you pack food for the day? No.
Yeah, we tend to not take care of ourselves all that well, and because our mindset is so, especially as a wedding photographer, you've shifted your mind from focusing on you and wanting to focus on your clients, which is a great and noble thing, no doubt. Yeah. But I found myself when photographing, especially long Indian weddings, after day 3. You're really your knees are wobbly and your stomach is still growling, even though the food's awesome and you're eating it. The food is not the right kind of food.
Right.
It's just simply put. I mean, that's just it. It's like you've just said. You've got cheese and crackers and you've got breads and delicious, of course, no doubt. Yeah. But you're in a point where you need energy and not something that's going to take away from that energy. Tell us a little bit about the website again. You've started to put this together for photographers, obviously. What kind of feedback have you received from people who've hit your website? What are they expecting you to give them, from this website?
I started it to kind of curate all of these experts, and I'm actually certified in yoga, so I am one of those experts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And plus, my 20 years of dancing and anatomy and kinesiology, so I'm part of that expert. But I'm trying to curate all of this information and distill it down to things that we as photographers, as event planners, as videographers can use that information and integrate it in. So everybody's been like, oh my God, I need that. Or can you tell me, what should I be doing after a long day? Should I be stretching? What kind of stretching? And what should I be eating? And, someone the other day emailed me and was like, my hands always hurt. What should I do? And I'm like, I have an episode coming up with my massage therapist. So,
are these all collaborative initiatives on your part? Like you bring in acupuncturist, a massage therapist, a yoga specialist, a yoga teacher, and you all sort of talk about the kinds of things that would be more specifically geared towards what a photographer or a videographer is maybe going through.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, that was simple enough, right?
Yeah.
The nutrition part of it is also interesting to me as a vegetarian. I know I find it hard at weddings, especially, to find things that are vegetarian. What kinds of tips can you give us as photographers on a wedding day, or even if it's not a wedding day, even if it's just a regular day? What kind of things would you suggest that photographers should be eating on a regular basis?
Well, they should be trying to get protein and veggies and healthy fats. So lots and lots of veggies. And if you're a vegetarian, you're eating a lot of veggies. And, I am still a meat eater, so I'm not as versed in vegetarian as far as what you can substitute for chicken or fish.
Okay.
But you definitely want to try to get those proteins, whether it is, beans or Greek yogurt, some kind of meat, preferably fish or organic chicken, as opposed to, the meat you find at McDonald's, if you want to call that meat.
No comment.
And a lot of veggies. And then healthy fats are things like avocados, nuts, coconut. Coconut is really good. And something my nutritionist actually gave me is this thing called Coconut Secret. Terrible name, terrible packaging, really good. But it's basically like a bar of coconut, and it's actually, they have some that are dipped in dark chocolate, which is better for you than milk chocolate. And the reason that she said, take this and you can eat half of it or the entire thing, is because coconut is a healthy fat and your body can access it quickly. So, other kinds of energy or, fats and proteins take longer to break down and access that energy, but coconut, you can access it quickly. So, within a half an hour, you're going to be feeling those energetic effects, whereas it may take longer for other things.
I did not know that. That was that's awesome. I'll have to look for that. There's a section on your website that really deals with the mindfulness. And this is something that I've sort of gone around the perimeter. I haven't really dipped my toe in it just yet. And it's, for some people, it's a little woo-woo.
Yes.
I'm Indian, so I'm like, yeah, whatever. This is something we grew up in all the time. But for a lot of people, it's probably going to be like, well, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Where's the proof? That kind of thing. But there's just an incredible amount of scientific studies already out there that show that even 10 minutes of just deep breathing and breathing out is sufficient to just sort of calm the nerves and sort of get you through the day. What do you suggest for photographers who are always racing to do things, especially on a wedding day or before the wedding, putting your gear together, your timeline together, you're going crazy, right?
Yes.
And there is no time to sit there and just breathe.
Right.
But you should.
We should. What I usually do is, and I say usually because it doesn't happen all the time, but I try to get up earlier than my kid and my husband. And it's usually just a half an hour earlier than everybody else. And I sit down and do my 15-minute meditation. And you don't have to. You can do 5 minutes. And that's actually, where And during yoga training, we did a lot of meditation, and we learned a lot of different ways to meditate. And my favorite is getting out one of my, mantras that I've pulled off of like Spotify or YouTube and listen to that. And it's like 10 minutes and you're just sitting there and breathing and concentrating on breathing and getting it flowing. And then I'll do, my 20-minute or 30-minute yoga or my exercise for the day. I have an exercise video that I do. But that really helps me kind of get centered and focused. And meditation, even though they say, breathing, but it's really kind of a way of connecting. So even if you, have been sitting, set an alarm so that you get up from editing every hour, or, if you've found that you've sat for 3 or 4 hours, get up, turn on music and just dance for 5 minutes. Like that could be your meditation. It's just something to kind of bring yourself back and focus a little bit on yourself.
Excellent.
So,
what are your plans for the Healthy Photographer? What is next for the Healthy Photographer?
Oh, there's lots of next. I am trying to, I've been doing in the New York area, I've been teaching yoga classes, and I'm thinking about creating kind of a beginner series because I have a lot of photographers and event people that are interested, but they've never done yoga. So that's one thing I'm looking to actually do some consulting, kind of like this, where you had asked, what should I be eating, or this is bothering me, and kind of creating programs for people and, speaking at, WPPI or something like that, where I'm talking with photographers and really trying to get them aware that what we do is physically taxing on so many levels. Absolutely. And it totally beats up our body.
Yes.
And, I've had friends that have had surgery on their hands and carpal tunnel and back problems and, slip discs and things like that, that happens because you're carrying around 20 pounds of gear and 50 pounds of gear. And if you live in New York City, you're carrying 50 pounds of gear up a step and down the step.
Yes. It is. A lot of what you've said hits home because about 3 years ago, I had surgery on my left shoulder, and my doctor told me straight up, "You're done, really photographing or carrying cameras all the time." Because I would run. The wedding day, you're running with 2 camera bodies on your side, one on each side, and you can't get away from it, really. There are things like the spider holster or other, contraptions like the Black Rapid, which is amazing. But at the end of the day, you're still stressing out joints and muscles and, constant day in and day out of that. Something's going to give. Right. And it gave. And so I don't play lightly with the entire notion that, if you're a photographer, you are Superman or Superwoman, forever. You have to take some stock in the idea that you have to pay attention. And, regular maintenance, as somebody said, is so important in this game. For being in the game for the long term, right? Right. So thanks to you and having this beautiful resource, the Healthy Photographer. It's going to be bookmarked by me. I'm going to go to it every day and try and find solutions for me that I can make happen. Things like a 10-minute meditation, not a big deal. I can fix that. I can put that in my calendar right now. The nutrition I've already taken care of, I think, and then the fitness, of course. The thing that most people, I think, don't do when they go running, and I've done this myself, is they don't stretch. And I think that's a big, big, big no. And I've been trying to do a little bit better in terms of just stretching my muscles out and getting warmed up before really hitting it hard. Anything that you'd like to tell us about your website? Anything that we should know? You have events. I see there's a tab for events. What kind of events are you got planned?
It's mostly yoga related because I can teach those. And I've partnered with other event people. So I did one with Nuage Designs, which is a linen company, and they have a gorgeous loft space in Manhattan. And we did, yoga, and then we did a healthy lunch. And what was great was everybody really connected on a different level than just, going to a networking event and saying, hey, how you doing? How's business? Oh, great. But, it was much more personal.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of came together and worked on something and did something and, had a lot of fun, whether, there were all levels. Some people knew it, yoga, some people were new to yoga, and some people, were experts. So,
Absolutely. Right.
I mean, those are my favorite things, to kind of get together with people and talk about ailments and try to kind of find ways to fix that, but also connect each other in a way.
Wonderful. And you're based in New York, so obviously your target market is New York, New Jersey, probably, right?
For the local stuff, but I mean worldwide, because that's why the website is kind of like a magazine, website.
Excellent. Sofia Negron, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
It's exciting to see a photographer take and go into a different direction completely and do some amazing things. I know being healthy is such a crucial thing, and I appreciate what you're doing for us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.